Dustin Smith. Okay, so my daughter comes to me yesterday, here at the show, and I'm sure Dustin hears this all the time. It's an amazing concept. She's like, Dad, this thing, you wear this bracelet, and like you can know where like this animal's tracking. And I'm like, and then she's like, and then it does it. I'm like, I understand everything. I get it right there. It's amazing. Everybody's like conversation piece. What I want to know is because he's got to catch a plane, so we're just gonna be exactly 3 minutes. I want to know, what's your origin story? How the hell did you like get into this, segue into this thing?
Yeah, Mike is good here.
Your mic
Cool.
is great right there.
Yeah, so really it was all stemmed from our love of animal conservation. I know, like, my personal origin story is I grew up in Bolotor Beach, Florida, and I love the marine environment. Like, I spent my weekends like scooping up seaweed that floated by to see like what was in there, seahorses, and I had a fish tank, and then I my first job was working at Bolotor Marine Aquarium. I worked in food prep, cutting up fish for the injured sea turtles and things like that. And I always wanted to be in marine biology. And so that's why it was a perfect fit for me. And really just finding a cool way to give back to animal conservation, and in a way that's way more meaningful and impactful to people, because they have a real connection to something, to an animal. And if they have that connection, people tend to care about it more, right? So that's the backstory.
So there's a guy named Forrest Galante. I don't know if you ever know who that is.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's an outdoor guy, and he knows all about animals. But the one thing that brings to mind is like it seems like, first of all, it seemed like you know the guy, but I want to know your story of like, how did you come up? It was like, I want to make this bracelet, and then I want to be able to people to be able to track them. And did you know that there was a space for that, and how did that start?
So Carter and DJs, who are the two original founders, they're best friends. They grew up in North Carolina, and they came up with the idea during their lunch break from their 9 to 5s, and wanted to have a cool give back to make. And they started off with bracelets, and it was like, well, how do we actually make this thing more engaging to people? And that's when the idea for the application and the actual being able to track real wildlife. And so how that ended up spurring out was, the initial conversation started with like Sea Turtle Conservancy, for example, and they knew they were already doing this tracking, and they're like, well, what about if we give you a portion of our proceeds in exchange for some of your tracking data, and we'll help fund and continue your research. And that was how it started with the application, was that wanting to add more value to the experience.
How did they humanely like tag? That's the number one question. A lot of big questions. Top 5. How does they humanely tag these animals? How does that process work?
Yeah, so it varies by species. So, for example, gorillas, there's no tracking device. It's literally researchers climbing atop of a volcano, finding them in the wild, and then recording them with their GPS coordinates.
Wow.
With sea turtles, it's epoxy to the top of their shell. It's meant to fall off after X number of time, and then the sea turtles goes on to live its life. It's strictly determined by whatever the research organization deems to be the safest way to track the animals. We also have something called the follow protection ping. And what that means is, like, obviously you don't want people knowing where elephants are in real time, because poaching is a real concern.
Right.
So it's delayed, right? So it really depends on the species. Whatever the safest is for the animal, determined by the conservancy. They're already doing this tracking. We're just utilizing their information and helping them raise more money and raise more awareness for their causes as well. So that's how it works.
Couple more questions and then I'll let you go. So what is the number one audience, avatar, customer? What does that look like?
It is so broad. Like, it's everything from we just launched plush products, which work the same way, like little stuffed animals. So it's young kids all the way up to like 70-year-olds. Like, we have this really cool thing that we offer to like our core fans. It's called the herd. And so after you buy X number of bracelets, you get invited to this Facebook group, and it's like, it is the mega fans. Like, there's people that have literally every single animal that's able to be tracked, every color bracelet. It runs the gamut of like the entire human population. So.
All right. Last question. What's the big long-term play for you? Like, what's the 5 to 10, 15 down the line? Where do you see this whole thing going, you in your career?
Yeah. So within Follow, like the idea is like to try to increase the experience. Like, how do we add to the encouraging people to come back to the application and also give back more, right? So we're working on some ways within the application to do like because we're fortunate to live in people's pockets with the application to sort of almost gamify the experience and drive people to retailers to find a specific animal. And really, you know, with a lot of the stuff that's happened recently with like budget cuts, a lot of the organizations we work with have said, which is super cool, that we're helping them stay afloat in today's environment. So that's the funding for a lot of these conservancies ebbs and flows over time. And so if we can continue to be that consistent fundraiser for them, then it means that we're helping more animals and better conservation.
Yeah. I love the idea. A lot of people love this idea. It's amazing because the interaction, you know, and it's also a big cause celeb. It's nice to have something when you're just trying to do like, you know, something to strive for something, but to have a larger cause celeb for it the way you have is really cool. It's a bigger picture type of thing.
Yeah.
And that must move your blood every day. Yes. And I freaking love it.
Yeah, thanks.
So
happy to do it.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yep, no worries.
Thanks for joining us. Gear up for your next adventure and head over to Bolotor.com to check out the amazing Bolo Pack and their other innovative outdoor gear. Catch you next time.